This book is called Big Al. It's written by Andrew Clements and illustrated by Yoshii. I think you can tell it's about a fish. Look at that big fish behind me. Eek! He's really big. Big Al. In the wide blue sea, there was a very friendly fish named Big Al. You could not find a nicer fish. But Big Al was also very, very scary. Nice, but scary looking, right? Other fish seemed to have at least one friend. Some had many. Big Al had none. He did not really blame the other fish. How could he expect little fish to trust a great big fish with eyes and skin and teeth like this? So Big Al was lonely, and he cried big salty tears in the big salty sea. Poor Al. But Big Al really wanted friends, so he worked at it. First, he tried wrapping himself up with seaweed. He thought it was a great disguise, but no one else did. Who wants to stop and talk to a floating plant with big, sharp teeth? They don't look interested in that. Then he thought that if he puffed himself up round, the other fish would laugh and see how clever and silly he could be. All they saw was how big Al could be, and they swam clear. Not happily impressed. Very early one morning, Big Al went down to the bottom and flopped and wriggled himself in the sand until he was almost covered up. He looked much smaller, and when the other fish came near, Big Al talked and joked with them and had a delightful time. But then one scratchy little grain of sand got stuck in his gills, and he sneezed. And all of the sand cleared away, and the other fish were gone. He's trying everything he can think of. Big Al even changed his color one day so he could look like he belonged to a school of tiny fish passing by. He bubbled along with them for a while, laughing and feeling like he was just one of the crowd. But he was so big and so clumsy that when the tiny fish darted to the left and then quickly back to the right, Big Al just plowed straight ahead. He went bumping and thumping right into the little fish, and before he could even say, "Excuse me," they were gone, and he was alone and sadder than ever before. What can happen to change poor Big Al's luck? Just when Big Al was starting to be sure he would never, ever have a single friend, something happened. He was floating along sadly, watching some of the smaller fish, and was wishing they would come closer, and as he watched, a net dropped down silently from above, and in an instant, they were caught. Big Al forgot all about being lonely, and he forgot all about being sad. His eyes bulged out bigger and rounder than ever, and with a mighty flip of his tail, he opened his mouth and charged straight at the net. The net was strong, but Big Al was stronger. He ripped right through it, and all of the little fish rushed out through the hole. Wow. His size and teeth really came in handy there. But when Big Al tried to turn around and go back out of the hole, he was tangled up in the net. He was stuck. Then the net went higher and higher toward the bright surface of the sea, and the little fish watched Big Al as he disappeared above them. When the little fish were able to speak again, all they talked about was the huge, wonderful fish that had saved them. How great it was to be free. But what a shame that the big fish had been captured. Oh no, Al. Just then there was a tremendous crashing splash above them, and the small fish darted away. Was it the net again? Not at all. It was Big Al. The fishermen took one look at him, and they just threw him right back in the ocean. happy to be rejected this time. And now there is one huge, puffy, scary, fierce-looking fish in the sea who has more friends than anyone. It's Big Al. Thanks for reading along with me today.